Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving into a super relatable and honestly incredibly frustrating domestic issue. It perfectly captures the rigid, sometimes totally unyielding reality of administrative law. Today, we're unpacking an official Arizona Office of Administrative Hearings case that pits everyday common sense right up against strict statutory interpretation. It's a fascinating look at what happens when what feels morally right collides head-on with what is legally provable. If you've ever lived in an HOA, a homeowners association, you are absolutely going to want to pay close attention to this one.
Picture this. You come home after a long, exhausting day at work, and you find a wet, 3-foot hole cut right into your living room wall. Turns out your HOA sent a plumber to track down a leak, and to do that, they took a saw to your drywall. Now, common sense kicks in immediately, right? You'd naturally assume the people who cut the hole are going to write the check to patch it up. But as we're about to see, the law doesn't really care about gut feelings. It operates purely on evidence, policy, and exact legal wording. Let's walk through how this escalated. It started simply enough. On October 10th, 2025, our homeowner spots a leak and reports it. The HOA basically brushes her off, saying, plumbing inside the unit is your problem. But the homeowner pushes back, following up on November 3rd because it's still leaking. Finally, on November 26th, the HOA sends out their vendor, Diamondback Plumbing, who cuts into the drywall to find the water source. Fast forward a few weeks, and the HOA absolutely refuses to pay for the repair. Frustrated, the homeowner officially files a petition with the state on December 12th, shelling out a $500 filing fee just to get her voice heard. And that brings us to the actual legal battle. We've got our highly relatable protagonist here, Unit 1071 homeowner Andrea Santos Alonso, taking on a classic bureaucratic antagonist, the Hudson Trace HOA. It's a virtual hearing in April 2026, presided over by Administrative Law Judge Sandra Vanella. Andrea is representing herself with a seemingly rock-solid common sense argument, while the HOA rolls up with their community manager and their legal counsel. It is a total David versus Goliath showdown. Right out of the gate, Judge Vanella lays down the ground rules, placing a massive burden of proof squarely on Andrea's shoulders. In these hearings, the standard is something called a preponderance of the evidence. Basically, Andrea can't just prove her wall has a hole in it. She has to provide evidence that's significantly more convincing than whatever the HOA brings, proving it's more probable than not that the HOA actually violated a very specific Arizona state law. She filed a petition, so this mountain is entirely hers to climb. Now, Andrea's whole argument is incredibly straightforward and honestly incredibly human. She says the plumbing line was a common element, the HOA needed to inspect it, she let them in, and they used their own guy to cut the wall. So they caused the damage, and they need to fix it. It's literally just the you break it, you buy it rule, applied to real estate. I want you to hear exactly how she put it during the hearing. She said, "I'm really simply and respectfully just asking for them to restore my wall and leave it in its original condition before they had access to my unit." She's making it crystal clear to the judge, look, I'm not asking for a remodel. There's no free upgrade here. I just want basic fairness. I want my wall back exactly the way it was before your plumber showed up with a saw. And to back that up, Andrea brought receipts, a really solid paper trail. She had the emails coordinating the plumber's arrival. She had photos of that big, wet, 3-foot gash in her drywall. And the real kicker? She had letters from the HOA's own lawyers explicitly acknowledging that, yes, the association did in fact cut the drywall to find the leak. She proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the HOA wielded the saw. Slam dunk, right? Case closed? Well, not quite. Because when we look at the HOA's defense, led by their attorney and community manager, they take a totally different track. They don't deny the facts at all. They openly, legally agree, they stipulate, that their plumber cut the wall. But their entire defense hinges on cold, hard policy. They're basically arguing, sure, we admit we cut the wall, but acknowledging we cut it is definitely not the same thing as acknowledging we're legally liable to pay for it. So we end up with this intense he said, she said dynamic. You have Andrea pleading for common sense fairness, up against the HOA's super rigid reading of the rules. Andrea says, you accessed a common line. The HOA fires back with a massive technicality. Actually, scratch that. It wasn't a common line, they argue, it was a limited common element that only served the unit above hers. And they claim that because fixing the drywall only benefits Andrea's unit, she has to foot the bill, regardless of who actually held the saw. And right here is where we get the plot twist. The HOA reveals the leak wasn't even coming from the main building pipes. It was traced to a bathroom sink line in Unit 2071, which is the apartment directly above Andrea.
The HOA's plumber only cut the wall to find the leak. Once they saw it was coming from the upstairs neighbor, the plumber literally packed up and left. The HOA didn't even do the actual pipe repair. The neighbor upstairs used their own home warranty plumber for that.
Okay, so this brings us to the absolute linchpin of the whole case. When Andrea filed her petition, she couldn't just say the HOA is being unfair. She had to cite the exact law they broke. She picked Arizona Revised Statute Section 33-1255E. It says, if any common expense is caused by the misconduct of any unit owner, the association may assess that expense exclusively against that unit. She argued the HOA broke this law by not forcing the upstairs neighbor to pay for her ruined wall. But let's zoom in on one absolutely crucial word in that statute: misconduct, caused by the misconduct of any unit owner. In administrative law, picking the right statute is often way more important than having the right facts. Andrea hitched her entire case to this one specific rule, which means under the court's rules, she doesn't just have to prove they cut her wall. She has to prove that the cut happened directly because the upstairs neighbor committed actual misconduct. So put yourself in Judge Vanilla's shoes for a second. You're staring at Andrea's evidence, the emails, the photos of the wall, the letters from the HOA admitting they cut it. Does any of that actually prove the upstairs neighbor did something malicious or negligent? Like, does a pipe quietly leaking behind some drywall automatically mean the person living there committed misconduct? Especially when the HOA testified the upstairs owner didn't even have visible signs of a leak in their own apartment.
And that brings us to April 21st, 2026. When Judge Vanilla hands down her final, legally binding decision. Now, the judge definitely recognizes Andrea's frustration, and she completely agrees the HOA's plumber cut the hole. But in an administrative hearing, a judge simply cannot rule based on sympathy or what feels right. They have to rule on the objective reality of the law, exactly as it's written on the page. Let's quickly walk through the judge's logic here, because it's a real masterclass in how courts function. First, she looks at the exact text of the statute to figure out the legislature's intent. Second, she identifies that the specific law Andrea cited absolutely requires proof of an owner's misconduct. And finally, looking at all the evidence, the judge concludes Andrea completely failed to show any misconduct actually happened. Ultimately, a leaking pipe is a mechanical failure. It's not necessarily human misconduct. So, the harsh reality? Andrea lost. The final order states that the HOA refusing to pay does not violate that specific statute. Andrea failed to meet her heavy burden of proof, and her petition was officially dismissed. It is a really tough pill to swallow, but it perfectly highlights how the system works. Andrea didn't lose because she wasn't wronged. She lost because she couldn't prove a violation of the highly technical statute she chose to bring to court. So, what's the big takeaway from this explainer? In property disputes, the literal letter of the law is always, always going to trump common sense. Being morally right just isn't enough. You have to be legally exact. If you ever find yourself going toe-to-toe with your HOA, you can't just rely on what feels fair. You've got to read the fine print, understand the legal jargon, and know exactly what the statutes say before you ever step foot in a hearing. So, I'll leave you with this. If a plumber knocked on your door right now and took a saw to your living room wall, do you actually know who would be legally forced to pay for it? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.